What's going on, guys? The 1031 exchange is a fantastic option for people to defer taxes so your money can continue to make money for you. There are a lot of different rules when it comes to the 1031 exchange that you need to be aware of. In this video, I'm going to be going deep in depth on the 1031 exchange rules and how the 1031 exchange can fast track your success. If you're new here to the channel, my name is James Holloway and I'm primarily a real estate investor. My mission here on YouTube is to help you achieve financial freedom through real estate investing and other money-making strategies. So if that sounds good to you, consider subscribing and turn on bell notifications. How you do that, you just hit the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button and you get notified every single time I upload a new YouTube video. Before I begin, I must say that I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an expert. So before you use a 1031 exchange, you need to consult with a tax expert. A quick recap on what the 1031 exchange is before I go deep in depth is a tax deferred strategy real estate investors use to avoid paying taxes on the capital gains on a property. Meaning if you bought a property for $100,000 and you sold it for $150,000, that $50,000 you are subject to a capital gains tax. Now depending on how long you hold that property is depending on short-term capital gains or long-term capital gains. Short-term is if you hold the property for less than a year. So basically if you're fixing and flipping, you're going to be paying short-term capital gains. If you hold it for longer than a year, you're subject to long-term capital gains. Let's give you an example really quick. Is if you were single, let's just say for an example, you were single. Let's say for simplicity's sake that $50,000 you made off the sale of the property, that's all the money that you made that year. And let's say for example, you held it for over a year, so you're subject to long-term capital gains. And based off of a tax bracket, if you made that $50,000, you are subject to a 15% capital gains tax. So you're going to be left with roughly $4,200 whenever you have to pay your taxes. Okay, let's get into some things that you might not know about the 1031 exchange. A 1031 exchange, if you didn't already know, is trading one piece of real estate for another piece of real estate. And why do I word that? Why did I word it another piece of real estate? I'll get into that in just a second. One key thing to note in the 1031 exchange rules, you must use the 1031 for like kind real estate. Well, real estate, that's a very broad term, and that's exactly how the IRS meant to put it. Another key thing is you must be using your real estate, whatever it is, for a business purpose. So that means you can't be using the 1031 exchange for a primary residence unless you're using a portion of your home as a business. So if you have a home office, basically there's a calculation based off of the square footage of your home office. You can defer those capital gains on your home office, this certain square footage. Even owning your primary residence, there's a lot of tax benefits to go into, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. So if you have a single family home and you're using it as a rental, you can use the 1031 exchange to defer those capital gains whenever you sell that property for another like kind property. And some examples are those raw land, commercial real estate, multifamily real estate, and more single family real estate, and a few others. Hey, if you're getting some value out of this video already, hit that like button, turn it blue so the YouTube gods know that there's some value in this video and other people need to know this. Okay, there's a few more things that I really want to touch on. One of them is there's a timing factor when it comes to the 1031 exchange. So whenever you sell the property, before you even sell it, you need to consult with a tax professional because there's some written lingo in the contracts that you need to be aware of. And also whenever you sell it, it has to be going into escrow. There's a bunch of different things that need to go into this process, but just consult with the tax professional and they will know exactly what to do. Now, back to the timing factor. Whenever you sell the property, you have 45 days after the sale of the property to identify a property that you're wanting to buy to use your 1031 exchange to buy this property. So basically, after you put your property that you're selling under contract, you need to be looking for a property for yourself so you can use this tax deferred strategy, the 1031 exchange, to move your capital gains to another property. And what does it mean to identify a property? Basically, you need to specify this is the property that I'm going to buy, and you can have up to 3 different properties that you are wanting to buy that you can identify. So you could have under contract a commercial property, single family properties, or a bunch of other things like raw land, etc. So the other timing factor I want you to be aware of is after you sell your property, you have 180 days to close on one of those 3 properties that you identified. And these things are concurrent with each other, meaning they don't start after. Like, say you're 45 days after you sell the property, the 180 days doesn't start after you identify a property. It starts after you sell your property. One question I get a lot about the 1031 exchange is, what if I have money left over after I buy another property? Meaning, after the profit of this property, if you have $1 million and then you go out and you buy a $900,000 property, like-kind property, well, you have $1,000 left over. That money is subject to be taxed. And like we talked about before, that $100,000, depending on, how long you held that property, and that $100,000, depends on the tax bracket that you're going to be in. Either it's going to be short-term capital gains, it's going to be long-term capital gains, and also that $100,000 might put you into a different tax bracket than the $50,000 example we gave earlier. As you can see, there's a lot of different 1031 exchange rules, so you always need to consult with a tax professional before you do this. If you want to know more about tax benefits in real estate, consider subscribing and turn on bell notifications. Just click the little bell icon, because I'm going to be uploading more tax benefits for real estate in the near future. But until next video, guys, I'm out. See ya.